Hey, you had a gun, didn't you? Yes, you did. You did. You had a gun. I saw it. Hey, you're the guy. You're the guy, aren't you?
Okay, pal, just...
What, you pulling a gun on me? I'm not afraid of you.
Just calm down, all right?
You think you can take me? I'm Santa Claus. Ah!
Great. I just beat up Santa Claus.
The Ref is a 1994 comedy crime film directed by Ted Demme that wasn't well known, but found acclaim among critics and has gained a cult following. On Christmas Eve in a wealthy Connecticut neighborhood, Lloyd and Caroline Chesser, played by Kevin Spacey and Judy Davis, find themselves attempting to work out their marital problems with a therapist named Dr. Wong, played by actor B.D. Wong.
I had this crazy dream.
Do we have to do dreams?
I was at this fancy restaurant having lunch, and the waiter brought me my entree. It was a salad. It was Lloyd's head on a plate of spinach with his penis sticking out of his ear. And I said, I didn't order this. And the waiter said, you must try it. It's a delicacy. But don't eat the penis. It's just garnish.
Lloyd, what do you think about the dream?
I think she should stop telling it at dinner parties to all our friends.
Lloyd calls out Caroline's affair, while Caroline calls out Lloyd for his inability to stand up to his domineering and rich mother, Rose. They both discuss their troubled teenage son, Jesse, who's off at military school.
In the 9th grade, we told him he could get a part-time job. You ready for what he did? He started an escort service for the football team, and he gave out my mother's phone number.
And I still say getting laid by an 18-year-old linebacker is just what she needs.
Please, let's lower our voices.
Fuck you!
In the meantime, on the other side of town, a burglar named Gus, played by Dennis Leary, has broken into a mansion and is stealing jewelry.
Jesus. Cat piss.
After accidentally setting off the security alarm, being sprayed with cat piss, and having his ass bitten by a guard dog, Gus finds himself alone when his driver and partner Murray, played by Richard Bright, drives away. At a convenience store, he decides to take Caroline hostage and orders the couple to drive him to their house.
Never have happened if you come into the store with me.
Well, that makes sense.
No, he chose me because I was alone.
Shut up! He did not.
Jesus fucking Christ!
Okay.
Gus realizes that the couple he kidnapped only adds to his aggravation.
Stop sign. I heard it very clearly.
I hijacked
I
my
am.
fucking parents.
Listen to anybody.
The police set up roadblocks and begin door-to-door searches throughout the neighborhood, led by Lieutenant Huff, played by Raymond J. Barry, alongside officers Steve and Phil, played by John Skirty and Jim Turner.
Lieutenant, I found this mask with a weird smell.
Urine.
Oh, thank God. Phil thought it might be semen.
Phil needs to talk to a therapist.
At the house, Gus ties up Lloyd and Caroline while their marital bickering continues.
The manager of the place.
If you work for your mother?
Let's get one thing straight, okay? From now on, the only person who yells is me. Why? Because I have a gun, okay? People with guns can do whatever they want. Married people without guns, for instance, you, do not get to yell.
In the meantime, he gets in touch with Murray at a local bar, instructing him to steal a boat for their getaway.
Hello? Murray. How are you, pal?
Fine. How are you?
Oh, fabulous, fabulous. Of course, I'm a little tired from running for 10 fucking miles because there was no fucking car waiting for me!
The Chassers' teenage son, Jesse, played by Robert J. Steinmiller Jr., shows up home unexpectedly on break from military school. Unbeknownst to his parents, he has been blackmailing the school's commanding officer, Siskel, played by J.K. Simmons, and stashing the money with plans of running away from home. After tying him up, Jesse asks Gus if he can join his life of crime. Gus decides to give the kid some much-needed advice.
Running around, stealing shit, that may sound great when you're 15 years old, but it sucks just a little bit when you're 35. No family, no house. I got a partner who's 56 years old. He's an alcoholic. He still can't figure out why they took Happy Days off the air. And then I got to turn on TV every day and see kids like you. You got a family to come home to. And what do? You sit around and you bitch and you moan because things don't go your way. Well, you know what, kid? Welcome to the real world, where most of the time, things don't go your fucking way.
With Lloyd's family, including his brother Gary, played by Adam Lefevre, his sister-in-law Connie, played by Christine Baranski, their 2 children, and rich mother Rose, played by Glynis Johns, all arriving soon for Christmas Eve dinner, Gus devises a plan. He will take on the identity of Dr. Wong, the marriage counselor that Lloyd and Caroline have been seeing, telling the family that his presence is needed as a part of experimental therapy.
From what school are you trained, Dr. Wong? Freud?
Nah, I don't go in for that dream stuff.
Really? You don't think patients should examine their dreams?
Well, I just don't think they should bother other people with them. I mean, what kind of a loser actually thinks anybody else is interested?
As Caroline gets drunk...
Caroline, why don't you eat something?
Lloyd, why don't you eat me?
Kids, go into the den.
True feelings come to the surface, and hilarity ensues.
Mom, this is our gift. It's to put in the bag. It's another payment on the loan.
Oh, thank you, Lloyd. Of course, we'll have to see what happens with interest rates in the new year.
Cocksucker.
What did she say?
She said cocksucker.
You've been sucking us dry for years on this loan.
Hey, Caroline.
No, I have something to say. You got a problem with that?
Oh.
This film was written by Richard LaGravenese and his sister-in-law Marie Weiss. It was inspired by drama they had within their own families. In 1989, Marie Weiss began writing the script after she had an argument with her husband and thought, wouldn't it be great if there were a third party to step in and referee?
And the loan was the same
What
situation.
difference does any of this make now? You're getting a divorce.
Mother,
What?
is it possible for you to shut the fuck up for 10 seconds?
She wrote several drafts and consulted with Richard LaGravenese in 1991. They took it to Disney and the studio approved it within 20 minutes. LaGravenese spent a year revising the script. Director Ted Demme had directed stand-up comedian Dennis Leary in his 1993 Showtime special, No Cure for Cancer, which was recorded live in New York City on October 10, 1992.
We live in a country where John Lennon takes 6 bullets in the chest. Yoko Ono was standing right next to him. Not one fucking bullet. Explain that to me. Explain it to me, God. Explain it to me, God. I want it explained to me now. Jesus.
The studio cast Dennis Leary based on his sarcastic, funny persona from the MTV spots he was featured in that Ted Demme directed.
One word, drugs. I grew up in the 70s. We did a lot of drugs and listened to a lot of bad music and wore a lot of stupid clothing like bell-bottoms and platform shoes. So you want some advice? Here it is. These are your pants. These are your pants on drugs, okay? 5 words, folks. KC and the Sunshine Band. Cocaine, there's a good idea. I want to do a drug that makes my penis small, makes my heart explode, makes my nose bleed, and sucks all my money out of the bank. Could I do that? Could I sit in a room and sweat for 7 hours? I want to make this face all night. I want to talk to complete idiots about nothing for hours on end with no penis and a nosebleed. Is that possible? Where do I sign up for that? And when it comes to crack, I got a little piece of advice for you folks. Never do a drug named after a part of your own ass, okay? I think you hear me knocking, and I think I'm coming in. I'm already in. I'm wandering around the house, and you know what? I found your bell-bottoms.
Don Simpson, who had produced films including Flashdance, Beverly Hills Cop, and Top Gun, came on as an executive producer. The film was shot in Ontario, Canada from June to September of 1993. This is one of 2 films in which Kevin Spacey plays a cynical man in a failing marriage. The other film was American Beauty, released 5 years later in 1999. In that film, his character is married to a woman named Carolyn. In this film, his character is married to a woman named Caroline. The original ending had Dennis Leary being caught by the cops to show the son Jesse that a life of crime doesn't pay. However, test screening audiences did not like this ending at all, so director Ted Demme changed it to a new ending that was quickly shot in January 1994. He later admitted regretting making the change to the ending. I personally don't mind the reshot ending because you like Dennis Leary's character enough that you kinda hope he can escape.
Where's your son?
He's spending the night with a friend.
On Christmas Eve?
I think it's very strange.
Well,
He...
actually, that was, my idea. Because, when one is constructing highways of communication between two people, it's sometimes a good idea to, clear the road and, slowly introduce exit signs.
That's funny. I heard something very similar on Oprah last week.
Despite taking place during Christmas, The Ref was first released into theaters in March of 1994. It grossed a total of $11.4 million at the box office. The Ref did not perform as well at the box office as Dennis Leary would have liked, and he blamed the studio's marketing of the film as the reason. He said, "They did me like the MTV guy, and they shortchanged what the movie was all about." I also believe that if you're going to have a Christmas movie, don't release it in March. Release it around Christmas time. Despite a lukewarm box office intake, critics were rather favorable to the movie. Roger Ebert gave it 3 out of 4 stars.
The Ref is a very verbal movie. Everybody in it is articulate and talks all the time, and the fights between Spacey and Davis are especially entertaining, and Leary is fun too as he gradually softens toward his hostages, while meanwhile the whole town gets involved in the manhunt. The Ref doesn't have much of a story, but it has a big gallery of funny, supporting characters, a lot of good dialogue, and best of all, it doesn't get all sentimental until right at the end. It's a good, edgy, dark comedy.
The movie showed up on many people's Best of 1994 lists at the end of the year, and in 2012, this movie appeared on Entertainment Weekly's list of the 50 best movies you've never seen. I first saw this when I bought it with my father in a DVD bin around 2005. I really enjoyed it, and I instantly considered it one of my personal Christmas classics. As the decades wear on since its release, I find it has a growing cult following. I hope and expect more and more people to view and enjoy The Ref, and add it to the list of Christmas comedy classics.